Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the breakfast show, Trading Idea with SMARTRobie, and it's Friday. That's right. Now, last weekend we did had our master class, which is the June intake, and we finally concluded the 5 day, and we ended on Wednesday. And most of you would have gotten a lot of good ideas, a lot of good strategy, and of course, going forward is some of those messages in our breakfast show, which I will remind you, many of our masterclass members, that you're able to, that the things that we talk about in here is just more of a reminder and the constant mentoring and coaching that we will continue to do with you as long as you join us. But of course, the public will also benefit from some of the messages that, and also the lesson learned, which I will also share with you. And don't forget to join many of our free workshop and also the free trading idea that we have for you together with SMARTRobie. Now, let's go on to what we have for you this morning. That's right. Now, this morning in our trading idea with SMARTRobie, definitely we will be looking at our best stock trade idea, and that's why we have it on top of me. Rachel H continue to win food Grab voucher, and you can also do the same too by submitting your best stock trade idea from SMARTRobie and get all the necessary ideas, as well as a chance to win an iPad giveaway May to July. So don't forget, submit your best stock trade idea, and this is definitely one of the campaign that we hope that you're able to follow too. All right, let's move on to this morning is our Friday, and definitely we're looking at advanced level, which usually we will be looking at the premium alert, and couple of trade ideas already pop up this morning in here, and also the chart setup for the advanced. But let's take a look at what we have in our morning roundup for the KLSE market, and later on we'll turn our attention to the US market. And this morning is no other than what I feel the economy agenda reset that we have inside here. And this is from the government recently with the MCO 3.0. And no doubt the agenda that we have in here, but our KLC market, like it or not, let's take a look at our attention in here. Despite what you see, that is certainly a good news. How did the market react? Let's take a look at what we have. And if you can see, yesterday the market was down 7 points, all right, to 1570, and we always say 1560 is the support level. Right now is 1566. We are again testing all those levels. But one thing not so good, if you do look at in here, let me bring your attention, very important, we have finally turned red pentagon. That's right, you see, we have turned red pentagon, and we're going to be testing the 1560 level. Despite the good news that you see, Malaysia has 8 reset agenda, digital economy, we've been talking about that for the last 4 years. Technology adoption, yes, but how much are we going into it? Shifting global landscape, we've been talking about it. Share responsibility, we've been talking about it. And the workforce recovery, we've been talking about. But the political will continue to be a real challenge in our Malaysian economy, way forward resetting agenda. But having said that, this is why we call the Feel Good Malaysia economy agenda. It's been set aforth, and we should, after the end of the MCO 3.0, we should able to get out of it. But something that we just want to do on top of it, but do take note, in reality, the KLCI has actually turned red pentagon. So what does that mean in our Pentagon trading portfolio strategy? Again, continue to follow those fixed rules, and we also will update you with our current portfolio return so far compared to the KLCI. As such, let's take a look what we have this morning in here, being the big decliner. V Solar finally moving 1 cent, is already up 33 cents. MPI is Carlsberg, Vitrox, Unisem, and Heineken, Panasonic, the usual suspect, which we always find them, they will do the necessary movement in there, but not much of an impact if you note from the chart that we've seen. Let's move on to our next headline here. Now, next headline is the property sector, which the Star Business continue to cover about the unsold resident stock situation, which they already been talking about this for the last 1.5 years. So as such, even if you look at property, many of those stocks are really trending down. That's not much. Only that one that in the horizon was is the what we call the Echo World. So let's put in Echo World International, and I believe that's the one that has some sort of interest generated. Of course, we have to trade according to the charts in here. You can see that one, and it's very, very classic what we talk about here. This is definitely a classic smart money movement. You look on the left hand side, just before the green pentagon, you notice on the right side, we have all these things what we call cluster of closes on a stage one. Again, a master class, something that we, a master class plan and a master class trade setup. We always talk about it. You can also see it right in the SMARTRobie chart, and such the thing just went straight up. Of course, now you'll be asking whether it is time to buy. Definitely not. The key thing is to really buy before even the green pentagon, by noticing all the low volume accumulation in here. And that's the kind of chart that we always see. Right now, it's going to be a lot of distribution, and maybe they do know things like the this analyst will be covering this report in here. But again, not all chart is the same. This is Echo World International. Let's take a look at Echo World, the other one. Okay, Echo World. Okay, and this is this doing the same thing too? Okay, let's open up this chart in here. Not as as clear as the other one, and as such, this is also very similar to the 6. So that's why we want to have the higher probably win rate to us. So that's why we always look at the trade setup, and then by the time you see this kind of news is already profit taking, right? And of course, many of you who are not the public, I suppose if you do follow me in here, you become smarter, right? Able to follow the smart money and not just simply buy. But having said that, property stock continue to be a real challenge going forward in here. Only a couple of good stocks in here. So check it out on the SMARTRobie on the hot sectors, and you'll find out more property stock. Let's move on to our next story. So our next story is on the defensive stock. Again, Food Kawan talks about the opportunity to expand to new markets, Europe and South America, and secure a few more customers in North America by supplying new product like pizza, pre-cooked meals, pita breads, Greek pita mats. I think the roti chana is pretty good. No, I have one. I bought it actually over during this MCO and try it out. You should. The Kawan Food in here. So having said that, it is a positive. So let's take in Kawan Food. Okay, you can see the Kawan there. And let's look at the chart here. And let's blow it up a bit. So you can see Kawan Food is well supported around the $2. I did try to hit up to 210, so it's range bound, the kind of movement in here. This morning there's no target price for this in here. Having said that, market's not going too much, so they're looking other than technology, which they cover a lot. So Kawan Food is the other sector. Of course, we want to look at the stock fundamental of Kawan Food here, and Kawan Food is actually owned by pretty much the Gan family. You can see Gan Tiam Chai, so that also tells you that the personal stake is in the market, and it only have a rating of 1. Dividend is reasonable, 1.5% in here with a P of 24. So this is still not the best kind of value stock that we've seen in here. Definitely judging from the ROE to PE comparison, this still is expensive. All right, but just a food for thought. All right, let's move on to our next in our list is a financial play. As I said before, on the hot sectors, definitely financials are going up. So NBSB. So NBSB is looking to eye 3 to 4% revenue growth, which is quite organic. Having said that, with the MCO 3.0, but let's take a look at this, whether it has give us a very positive news of NBSB, which usually loans a lot of these loans to the government sectors in here. But the RCE Capital, which I've talked about it, and one of the core holdings that I previously have, has done pretty well, almost double when we first talked about it last year in November, around 140, 150, now it's about 280 already. So does MBSB have the same thing? Again, back to the story with RCE Capital and this. You need to buy something that people don't talk about it. I think that's the only way to make money. By the time people talk about it, it's time to chabot. Just like Echo World and Echo. So you notice from this chart onwards in here, this is one of those stocks. Market continued to fall right until 30th of May, where we have this recovery, and NBSB has turned green Pentagon. Let me switch to a wider chart here. So that is kind of significant, but it's pulling back. It's right at a pullback in here. If you do want to take a look at the NBSB, do use the trading plan to buy at a pullback, so you have a better entry. A lot of time, if you don't follow the Pentagon early on, like what we do in our Pentagon trading, that's continued to do very, very well despite the market not going up. We are still, in a very positive area. Right, and you can see from here, it's still in a bullish rating. Having said that, but let's take a look at the fundamentals. And fundamental is rated out of 3, so not too bad. It is investment here. Has a ROE of 4%, but the dividend sure is lovely, 4.73% in here going forward. So this article talk about they are targeting a 3% loan growth, very modest, not too aggressive in here. Nothing much on the upside. Having said that, unless there is some sort of corporate restructuring, but this news is more of the daily receive in here. And of course, let's look at something more of a fun play. All right, let's take a look at more of a fun play in here. Is going to be the CPO. That's right. Now the weakness in plantation sector, what we have seen is what you should do is try to avoid the plantation share until there is a trend. Now this story talks about the soybean oil, which there is a disparity between the widening of the discount between soybean, because soybean and CPO palm oil tend to maintain a spread, a reasonable kind of spread, and we are seeing that widening. This is due to the drought season that we see in US Brazilian, but the palm oil has only has increased par over 15% in here. Right now, the future CPO contract, I believe, is around 3,400 here, according to this report here. The lowest February, it did hit 4,000 and then finally came back down following the CPO, following the soybean prices in here, but since then it's part out. So what this simply says that plantation stocks, if you want to know, just type plant, okay? You just type plantation, and you're able to see the plantation sectors. Switching to a wider chart here. So on this sector, you can see, let me just bring this down again. You can see everything, right, is Pentagon red, right? That's just telling you how weak the sector is. Except for IJM. We all know IJM is because I think KLK is making a bid to buy IJM Plantation. That is the only one really making money. Else, like all CPO prices, they are going into some sort of downtrend in here or holding up. So let's look at Taan, and that is always been 5024. Look at Taan, and let's look at the stock chart here. Okay, you can see the market breakdown on this news earlier on. Okay, so once you break down between the ATR stop loss, likely the market's going to go down or not much. So you're going to be relying on dividend to do it. Again, going back to your plan, like those of you who have come to the masterclass, I've talked about giving you 2 different strategies to use, right? Definitely something you can want to consider, that you can achieve the required rate of return, which is, we always talk about the agenda for train trader and train investor. What is your ROR? Right? If you don't have that, then you just try to, guessing your luck, and you probably end up in some way that you don't like it, not getting the return that you want to. You'll be struggling and trying to achieve that kind of return, but you don't ever hit it because maybe you didn't plan about it. So it's important, I always say before, always have a plan. If you don't have a plan, that's why sometimes we don't get to hit the number that we want to hit. Because at the end of the day, you go through 1 year, 2020, you need to make money. 2021, you need to make money. 2022, you need to make money every year. So you need to have that required rate of return to hit that number. As we always talk that number, how to grow to 1 million. That's right, 1 million in your portfolio. If you have not, check out the YouTube. I have one. We did talk about it, how to have your portfolio growing to 1 million. There's a lot of good lesson learned and tips that will help you to reach that level in here. I do hope eventually those of you who follow me for some time were able to hit your portfolio higher and higher. That's always been my motivation to carry this group as well as this breakfast show to enable you to hit your target in here. And it's not that difficult if some of the lesson learned that I've talked about it in our masterclass, and you will realize it is process of just following that steps, ensuring you're on the right sector by following the hot sectors, and try not to do things that follow your emotion. All right, you know what I mean. All right, let's move on to our next story here. is going to be on the US market. That's right. Now, like it or not, as I said before, our column, the KLSCI, is not going anywhere. That is why we need to focus overseas. Now, I'm not being biased here or not. You have seen early on the Malaysian resetting its agenda, but look at US with the vaccine rollout. They're doing pretty well. The only thing that is concerned is the US inflation rate, which I'm tempted to, try to answer in here. The US Fed's Jerome Powell has acknowledged the inflation rate and ready to hike earlier rather than later. When we say earlier, what year is that? 2023. They were talking about putting up the interest rate hike in 2024, because any interest rate hike will tend to be very, very negative to the stock market, as it did. You saw in the month of March, the inflation continued to go up to the 5% in here. You saw a lot of the tech stock has fallen, but surprisingly last night with this acknowledgement, the 10-year yield treasury rates has actually gone down below to 1.5, and as such gold prices reacted and fell more than 5% in here. What is simply just saying that interest rate is going to go up. When interest rate goes up, that's bad for gold, okay? Because people are likely to put their money in the banks where it will have higher interest rate. So, however, saying that, the opposite actually happened. What has happened is that the 10-year yield treasury yield has fallen below 1.5, and remember, any low interest rate movement will have a positive move on the tech stock, and that's why you are seeing today, even in our premium alert, many of the tech stocks are moving up. So if you have those tech stocks, right, Revenue, Inari, and MPI, GF Tech, you will see they are having green pentagon ready to move higher, because the brothers in Malaysia, the tech sectors, are following the big brother in US market. So this is where I try to explain the differences and also the similarity between the US sector and the Malaysian sector, so you will always be ahead. The only way to do that is knowing the relationship between those two. And SMARTRobie, with our apps that you see inside here, you have both KLSE, US S&P 500 and SGX, you're able to follow that. But the main story actually focus on the tech stocks, and we will be looking at Nvidia. The Nvidia and the ARM, this very good for the sector. Nvidia is one of the biggest in terms of GPU chips and the AI chips they are building up. And ARM is the one that do design, they don't build the chips inside here, for the M1 chip for the Apple, right? Which have very, very high computation rate as well as low heat. And this is where Intel, the CPU chips, are really losing out too. Intel used to be one of the architecture in the RIS architecture compared to the ARM, which is having another architecture. So the RISC architecture, which is dominated by Intel, seems to be losing in this race inside here. So if you look from here, this is Nvidia. You can notice, all right, even from our SMARTRobie Pentagon Guider, Nvidia, all right, is likely to be 21.9% since the green Pentagon on 20th of May, which is less than a month, and you're already up 20% just following that green Pentagon. Now, if you looked at Intel, INTC, right, which is another Intel chip, you can also put in AMD. Let's take a look at Intel chip, all right, stock comment in Intel, and you can see Intel is not going anywhere. This is where we talk about the two comparison. What I talk about the structure of it, the Nvidia with the AI. These guys are flying. But for the Intel chips, which is the traditional chips that you get in your computers, that is really struggling in here. But having said that, this is a nice base. It does tell you something is cooking. I don't know, but usually stocks will break out to move up higher, then news will come out. And that's why we talk about smart money. At least this is where I will present with you some perspective from the US side in correlation to the market to make investing and trading more interesting inside here. Okay, Mr. Young has this stock called Oxy. If it's a US market, it's an S&P 500, we'll definitely look at it. All right. So that's my update every morning in our breakfast show in terms of the US market. Of course, let's look at our Pentagon Guider in here. Now, last year for the year 2020 with a good year, we have on the backdrop of a backtesting of 35,000 ringgit in here, we have 106% in here, and we all know last year was a very good year. But this year, as you can see, the KLCI, you all know about it, right? Just now, I just share with you. Let's go to a bigger zone here, and you can see the KLCI. Just switch back to the KLCI, going back to Robie chart and KLCI market today. You can see right now we are still, holding up in here. Of course, you can always look at the S&P 500. It's, really moving up and really going new high. So this is where, the real comparison between the two different markets here that we see. So even last year for this portfolio for the KLCI, we're able to achieve 106%. Now with this market that you see on the right hand side, chart's not going anywhere, it's going to break lower. We are still able to, outperform the market with a 17% return so far with a win rate of 67 compared to KLCI -3. So my question to you, if your agenda is going to be a trader and investor for this, how well have your portfolio fared? If not, let us help you. All right, just send us an email or send us a WhatsApp with the number in there. How can we help you to make your portfolio perform better? Is this the right tools? Are you having the right coaching and the mentoring in there? Are you even doing the right strategy? So continue to follow some of our free workshop to find out more, and definitely one of them will be the next Saturday event with Dr. Gary Dayton, and we're going to have more information down the road there. All right, let's look at our past leaderboard for our premium alert so far that we had, which is updated every 30 minutes via BSL, Armada, Hyptech, some of them. And these are very short movement in 5 days. Now, the last Friday, 2 Fridays ago, right? We didn't do the Friday. We picked Efficient and Pekka, right? 4th of June. Let's take a look at those stocks and how well they fared during that time. All right, and first of all is Efficient, right? Again, we switch to a daily chart, and take note, 4th of June was on that day, and it was on climatic volume. You can see this is the turquoise bar. You see that tells you the bar is climatic, and for some reason with the upthrust and climatic, you saw this market break down and sell off with the red pentagon, and that's how the market is. Sometimes with the premium alert, we may bought it at the time when the market was hitting resistance in here too. So no chance, we have to get out, and also right now we can see from the right hand side is turning red pentagon. So we all need to know what does red pentagon have to do. Now it's important that we need to put some perspective in reality. If the market is going down, it's very difficult to make money. All right, it's like you're fighting the trend. It's like you're swimming against the river current. All right, don't do that. Always swim with the river flow. That's the first lesson you must learn. But no doubt some of you may want to try your luck. If you really want to try your luck, trade on the US side, all right? Like what we talk about, the S&P 500. That's the only way to make money. And if you're not looking at the US side, ask yourself, why not? All right, why not? This is why I want to bring in you, it's kind of interesting sometimes when we bring good trade ideas, but some people are closed. As I said before in our masterclass, I already talked about that. The only way you can make money is where you start to open up a lot of market opportunity in here. So this is where we see Efficient. Let's take a look at Pekka. Okay, Pekka was, Pekka is not so bad, but no doubt it has turned also. Let me just refresh this again. Okay, and Pekka was 4th of June, was somewhere here. It did go up, hit a high, and we hit some sort of high volume here, and also turned red pentagon, just aligned with the overall KLCI market. Take note of it. The main index turned red pentagon. Many of those little fella will also turn too. All right. No, that's right, Yang. All right, let's go on and look at the other sectors. I haven't seen my Maybach yet, which is one of the stocks. I think Maybach is also down. Yep, it's down to 1%. And DNonce, it's the other shares, which is part of the portfolio in here. It's also holding up there. Okay, holding up there. And the other one is Samcam. Okay, Samcam has a stock split yesterday, and this morning, yep, it's been adjusted already. So it is also turning red pentagon after a stock split. It's back to 87 cents in here. Okay. So take note of all the respective changes that we have, and let's go on to our next. All right. Now the next one is the advanced trade idea. Again, the premium alerts. 2 of them just came up this morning. Definitely, again, technology stocks, because most of the time I try to align to the US side, which is updated every 30 minutes for our episode 81 today. All right, let's look at the DNonce. Okay, DNonce, very nice today. Is up 6% in here. Hopefully this is a resistant and its climatic volume showing the same pattern like what we saw earlier on for last week efficient in here. Again, you don't need to do the trade, but having said that, it may likely tomorrow have a pullback. But if the technology stocks are moving up in US, chances this are pretty good. All right. The next one we have for our premium alert is JHM, another technology stocks. Again, this one is nicely done. Green Pentagon, dip back, pull up, 1 bar pullback, and now you're having an upthrust. So this is going to be coming up from a low base about 174. Let's look at very similar to the big brother Inari too, right? You can see they all are slowly moving up. But of course, you can switch over to Apple. You can see Apple. Those of you I've talked about it already turned Green Pentagon. So Apple is likely to retest back. If Apple hit 140, your Inari or JHM semua boleh jalan punya. All right. So that's the big brother. And why? Because of the interest rate that we talk about it. Now you understand. Okay. So let's so those are the two shares that we have for our advanced trade idea in our premium alert. You got it first in our SMARTRobie. All right. Let's move on to our next part of the now this is something that the conceptual map we keep going out. Of course, we go into very depth. We spend many hours on our masterclass. All right, so we are doing another session again on two Wednesday from now. All right, that will be the Pentagon portfolio. So for those of you who are interested to come to our masterclass, definitely there's a number there you can call and you can register for our next intake in August. So on the sign of strength, as this market continue to break up, we have a line change. There will be a temporary pullback, right? As we can see, many of those stocks will do that because the main index are going down. All right, of course, this is a QR code. Those of you who are first time wanted to learn more about line change, spring and test, do check it out too. All right, and don't forget, this is the QR code to register for our free Zoom session, which is on 9 p.m. on the 26th of June. That's right, on Dr. Gary Dayton, a Wyckoff expert, will be us with his talk assessing the market from a Wyckoff perspective. All right, make sure you check it out in here. A very veteran, very seasoned price and volume trader in here. And don't forget, definitely next Wednesday, we will continue with our live FB, and we will start off with a topic with a focus on Malaysia, how to start a dividend portfolio with 5,000 ringgit or USD 1,000. All right, this is simply for those of you who are new millennium or perhaps your children. Get them started right now. You don't want to be around when you're 50 or 60 years old and you start learning to invest, right? Get your children, get your son, get your daughter to learn earlier. And this is how I start with my children too. Give them a portfolio and get them to do how. So we're going to share with you next Wednesday, 9:30. So make sure you join us then, all right? And don't forget, we are at the session. We're going to be doing stock review. And thank you again for those of you who have come for our Google Play and also for our Google episode, who has given has given us good review, and we have done a good job. And if you have not given us a review, do go over to Google Play Store and Apple Play Store to give us a review. And many thanks to our top fans, and priority will be given right now to review your stock. All right, so we're going to be looking at some of the stocks that you have this morning in here. And okay, SCIB, okay, Sarawak consolidation in here. This one is already a goner lah. As I said before, turn Green Pentagon breakdown, 80 hour stop loss. Okay, probably it will come back, but I don't know when it's going to come back. Again, I think it's also important, if this is a goner, the question is whether you want to follow a plan or not. All right, that's the question. And also diversify a bit. So if you have done your diversify a bit, yes, you may get a hit on this one, but you definitely don't sunk the whole ship. Remember, I think Young, you came for our masterclass that we talk about the drawdown too. Right? If you know what I meant about the drawdown and the strategy we use, then you'll be fine. I think I believe I saw your name in our masterclass. Okay, Young. If not, do join us in next time in the coming August. Okay. Okay. Let's take a look at the next one. We have Inari. I think it's okay, no problem. Inari. All the tech stock is coming back. Right. This is definitely good. Take out of the what we call the uptrust strengths coming in here. Definitely a good one. For UI. Let's take a look at the next one, freight. Now, freight is definitely one of those logistic which is doing well here. All right, red, it's already turned red Pentagon, so just take note of it. You got a couple of upthrusts in here. This likely to move sideways. still above the ATR stop loss, so you can still hold it in here. But it's not going to go back up until you see a green pentagon. And also take note, the KLCI already turned red, right? So what's the trend? The trend is down, right? But the technology is better because technology is following the US, just like a reported just now there, okay? So that will give you some sort of the bearings going forward. All right, let's take a look at the other side. Anyone has anything, the outlook for, okay, we have here Tasco, okay, for Kenny. And looks like we hit a resistance right now in here. Still green pentagon, you can still hold it. Let's hope that one day will break this out. The 125, then you see a bit higher in here. All right, we got the other one side, LSoft. Okay, LSoft looks good. All right, again, all the tech stocks, no problem. And Inari, all this semua jalan balik. Okay, okay. So okay, that's good. That's good. And all right, so tech stock looks pretty decent. Any more stocks you want me to look at? Okay, Dufu also okay. All right, all the tech stock will jalan already. Okay, Dufu also good. All right, new high in here. Continue to run. Right, you can see from green pentagon you're already in the move. So always important to read the chart. All right, read the chart. Jessica, Dufu looks good. No problem. Let it run. Or you want to take some profit in here. Follow a strategy. Follow a plan. All right, like what I've said before in the masterclass. Because sometimes many of you who attend, I assume many of you who attend today in our Facebook, some of you who have come for our masterclass, at least you'll really learn more. Great Tech is the same thing too. All these are turning green pentagon in here. I wouldn't worry so much. Right, yep, it's turning, right? So again, going back to the S&P 500 that I talked about, if Nvidia merging with ARM is good, all your chips will jalan. Now the next sector is going to be EV, okay? It's just maybe another 2 or 3 more weeks. Once tech sectors get a bit weaker, you'll see EV moving, okay? Now that's what to make money, you need to stay ahead, right? Stay ahead, you cannot wait for the newspaper. By the time newspaper talk about technology sector next week, right? Profit taking already, correct? So this is why I inform you guys, learn to read the chart so you stay ahead all the time. All right, okay, let's look at the bank stocks, CIMB. Bank stocks are still decent. You can see here, hit the old high, which is up here, so it's going to move sideways for a while. Still green pentagon, so it's okay, depending whether you want to run it or not. But hopefully, again, I hope that you bought at 18th of May and not now. That's always been my wishes. Why don't you follow the green pentagon? Why do you want to buy now? Now, if you have it, the question is, where did you buy it? And which entry did you use, right? So always go back and re-examine your entry. And if you don't do a trading plan, you will forget. Am I correct? No? So that's why it's important to have a trading plan. And this is something, again, I talk in the courses where we can re-examine as a coach and myself. We'll go back and look at your entry, just like you're learning how to play golf, learning how to play badminton. If I don't record, right, your stroke, how am I going to help you to correct? Correct? No? So you always make the same mistakes. And then your portfolio every year don't grow. Year 1, year 2, year 3 don't grow. And then after 3 or 4 years don't grow, then you start to panic already. Don't do that. Don't fall into the beginner's mistakes. I hope you all know what I'm talking about, because I've seen it time and time again, and it's my job to really help you to correct all the mistakes so you're able to grow and hit your 1 billion portfolio soon. And that's always been my wishes. Depending where you start, if you start with a smaller amount, 20,000 in here, then you need a longer time. Go and watch the YouTube video that I've done. All right, in here. So let's look at the any more stocks in here. Okay, if there's no more stocks, do join me again next Monday for our breakfast show. And don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube, so all our YouTubes will be archived, and definitely next Wednesday. And don't forget to submit your best stock trade idea from SMARTRobie. Okay, the best stock trade idea from SMARTRobie will definitely get you in the right position, right mood. And thank you for watching, and do join our Telegram chat room in here for more ideas, more small educational tips, fundamental analysis, so you and your colleagues and your family members will also benefit from many of the ideas that we have. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your support. And so far, I hope that the time that you spend with me is well spent. So don't forget to review us at the Google Play Store, which is on this site here. That's right, on the Google Play Store. We really appreciate if you have done a good job, and we are here to help you build your portfolio to hit your financial target. Think about what is your target. That's the first thought. If you don't have one, it doesn't matter where you go. Just like we always say before, if you do not know where you're going, it doesn't really matter what destination. All right. Thank you and watching. I'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.